They didn't realize they were pushing against the very current that keeps everything in motion. They thought you were just another person they could shove around, but in truth, they grabbed hold of something bigger than them, and now that wave is crashing straight through every fragile structure they built. They should have backed away the moment the air felt heavy, when the hush settled over the room like a warning, yet they kept pressing, kept provoking, kept dragging your energy toward the chaos they swim in. Everything they launched is spinning back like a hard-thrown boomerang, and now the ones who laughed at your calm have fallen silent, their own words stuck in their throats. They assumed they were poking at someone ordinary, never grasping that they were tugging the tail of a force they could never control. If this stirs something deep inside, pause for a breath, tap like, hit subscribe, and stand in that chosen energy. Every single click pushes this message farther, telling the platform that it matters and that other chosen ones need it now. You aren't just watching a video, you're fueling a ripple that's already shaking closed systems. Listen closely. They were never wrestling with you. They were wrestling with the laws that hold the cosmos in balance, and they didn't even notice. You weren't reacting, you were resonating. You weren't broken, you were recalibrating. While they targeted you, thinking you were vulnerable, they were actually yanking against the very equilibrium that keeps everything from flying apart, and that is why their own lives are folding in on themselves. Their masks are slipping because alignment never loses, and you have been aligned since before it was popular. You felt the shift long before anyone posted about it. You stepped back before the crash, and now they're buried in the rubble. Still, we need to talk about something other than them. We need to talk about you. While they doubted your power, you doubted it too. You asked yourself, was it my fault? Did I blow things up? Am I just too sensitive? You begged the sky for proof you weren't losing your mind, not because you lacked truth, but because you were surrounded by people pretending they couldn't feel it. Stop dimming your light just because they're frightened of the glare. Your energy was never the problem, it was the pressure they couldn't handle. You weren't isolated because you were off course, you were pulled aside because you were ahead of schedule. The universe never leaves its aligned ones exposed, it tucks them out of reach while the noise burns itself out. You thought the silence was punishment, yet it was insulation, it was preparation. You've never been abandoned, you were being positioned. While they played checkers with egos, the universe moved in silence, and now the pieces are landing exactly the way you sensed they would. Here's the raw truth. Everyone involved is feeling the backlash. The liars, the enablers, the ones who clapped behind closed doors. They didn't simply betray a single person, they tried to bend the current, and the current remembers who it moves for. That is what haunts them, not just that you're still standing, but that you're standing in the middle of their collapsing towers. Stand in that reality, not with arrogance, but with awareness. They mistook you for the weak link when you were the signal. They figured they could handle fallout, never realizing the fallout began the instant you walked away. You didn't ask for battle, they wouldn't let you have peace, and now they wish they had. Before we go deeper, if this message punches the spot inside you that always knew, drop the number 77 in the comments. That number isn't decoration, it's a signal that you feel what's unfolding. If you've ever been the target, the misunderstood one, the person squeezed out, and you're suddenly watching karma circle the block, know this is no accident. This is the chapter they never believed you would reach, and now it's the chapter you grow through. Stay with me as we break it down. First, they poked the quiet one and set off the alarm hidden in plain sight. They thought you were easy prey, but you were the tripwire the universe laid across their path. They didn't merely offend you, they tampered with balance. They took shots at someone already stamped with purpose, and now it isn't just karma knocking, it's every piece of their manipulation falling apart like bricks shaken from a fake wall. Your silence was not softness, your stillness was not weakness. The calm has lifted, and what echoes through the room is the sound of consequences pounding at their doors. They were convinced they were toying with your emotions, slandering your name, isolating you, watching you spin in doubt. Yet they weren't only targeting a person, they were pulling on the current itself, and that current is now snapping back like a stretched cord around their ankles. Chosen ones aren't only people, they're signals. When a signal is threatened, the surrounding system recalibrates, and that recalibration shows no mercy. Ever notice how everything went quiet right after the drama? That wasn't closure, that was the wind drawing breath before the storm slammed back. They thought they won, thought they escaped, yet the only prize they earned was front row seats to the backlash. They never understood how protected you were, not by noise, not by crowds, but by the design of timing itself. You never had to shout when the architecture you align with bellows on your behalf. Still, let's be honest, you questioned yourself. You looked in the mirror and wondered if you'd imagined the whole thing, if maybe you overreacted. That doubt didn't come from truth. It came from standing alone while the system quietly recorded every move. The system was never late, it was gathering evidence, and now it's cashing all of it in, plus interest. You were never just a casualty in their theater. You were the final straw, the shift they yanked once too often. They thought you were prey, but you were the warning shot. Now everything they tried to build off your pain collapses under its own dishonest weight. When a chosen one is attacked, the universe doesn't react with emotion, only precision. It watches, it waits, and once the line is unmistakably crossed, it realigns everything. The people who turned against you on their signal are now turning against each other. The counterfeit piece they arranged is cracking. The tales they spun are unraveling beneath a spotlight they can't switch off. Worst of all, they're tormented by your quiet calm, the way you've stayed centered while their comfort zones crumble at their feet. Let them feel every moment, every misstep, every consequence you sent up prayers for, because this isn't petty, it's precise. You were hit, and the universe is restoring balance, not with fireworks but with force, silent, unstoppable, exact. If some part of you still whispers, "Why me?" Here's the answer: because you can hold what would break them. You can carry the weight they couldn't lift. You were built for this while they were bluffing. They wore power like a costume, you wear yours like armor, and that is why they fear your silence, because it keeps echoing inside their losses. Stand up inside this moment. Claim your isolation as a badge that the system needed to shield you. Wear your endurance as proof you never lost, you were pulled back. Now they're learning what happens when they swing at the wrong one. They didn't simply annoy the quiet soul, they triggered the whole network, and the network is responding. Second, they mocked the warning, and now they're sobbing through the wreckage. They twisted your clarity into a punchline, and that same punchline is dragging their world down. They side-eyed you in rooms you still held together, rolled their eyes at your insight, whispered about you with smug screens in their palms. Every sarcastic laugh, every your overthinking, echoes like a siren now, because the exact patterns they dismissed are burying their comfort. They labeled your awareness dramatic, your intuition unstable, but now they're the ones losing sleep and watching the storyline you described unfold scene by scene. You never wished harm on them, you simply saw it coming, and that is the piece haunting them. Even while they were giggling, a part of them suspected you were right, they just lacked the courage to admit it. Instead of preparing, they doubled down on arrogance, calling your alignment ego, labeling your foresight fear. Now they're trapped inside the chaos they swore would never arrive. The laughter stopped the second consequences stepped into daylight, and the same mouths that scoffed are begging for clarity. Let's be clear, you never needed to curse them. They cursed themselves the moment they interfered with what the universe was guarding. They thought they were gossiping about a person, yet they were tampering with currents older than mountains, and those currents are circling back. This is what happens when silence is mistaken for weakness and warnings for worry. It's what happens when someone tries to sabotage a signal instead of respecting it. They remember every word you spoke, the pause, the shift in your tone, the accuracy in your eyes, and those memories now pound like drums in a quiet house. Noise never shakes foundations, truth does. When truth is laughed at long enough, it stops requesting attention and simply begins to happen. That's where they stand now, knees deep in effects they set in motion themselves. You carry no need to say, "I told you so." You've moved forward, focused on building, aligning, elevating, and they're peering through the smoke of their own wreckage, wishing they had listened. Chosen one, you must stop apologizing for being right. Stop trimming your insights so others can pretend to be comfortable. They didn't mock you because you were wrong. They mocked you because you made their masks slip, and they weren't ready to face what sat beneath. Do not mourn for those who ignored the warning. Stand firm in your alignment, because the universe never picks a messenger at random. You were early, you were precise, they dismissed you, and now your echo trails behind every lie they told to prop themselves up. Let them stumble. Let them carry the weight of denial. They earned every outcome through their own arrogance. This isn't revenge, it's simple cause-meeting effect. The input they wrapped in laughter is returning wrapped in silence. Walk with that truth, not vengefully but confidently. They laughed, they pointed, they mocked, but now they're sifting through wreckage you tried to spare them, and the only sound louder than their regret is the hush you left behind. Karma isn't lagging behind, chosen one. It's buttoning its jacket and glancing at the clock, waiting for the perfect second to stroll in and flip on every light they thought would stay dim forever. They convinced themselves that the long hush meant safety, that your quiet retreat meant defeat, but you never retreated. You sidestepped. You never folded. You simply stopped repeating warnings to people who decided to stay deaf. While they raised glasses to your absence, Karma was backstage, lacing up boots, focused and exact. Now the curtain draws back, and the show they never rehearsed is starting. Karma never moves on anyone's watch but its own. It isn't emotional, it isn't reckless, it doesn't burst in just to make a scene. It waits until the disguise has been worn so long that it's become skin, until the lie is louder than reason, until the culprits finally relax because they believe the coast is clear. That's when Karma appears, unhurried, unflinching, landing every note with surgical precision. They didn't escape a thing. The quiet gap between betrayal and consequence was never protection, it was preparation. Silence wasn't the closing of a case, it was the architect laying out exact blueprints for collapse, piece by piece. Now those pieces are dropping in slow motion, and nothing can stop the chain reaction. Watching them dance like everything's fine while the room fills with smoke feels like standing outside a burning building at night. They toasted your name over cheap laughs, celebrated how easily they twisted facts, shared grins while you picked splinters out of your spirit. They had time, endless time, to clean what they smeared, to tell the truth, to pull back, but they chose applause instead. They confused your quiet with weakness, your stillness with ruin, and now the boom they claimed would never sound is rattling every window they own. You knew it wasn't finished. That itch in your belly, that tighten up of the air around your shoulders, it wasn't paranoia, it was awareness. You weren't waiting for revenge, you were waiting for alignment, and alignment loves to keep perfect time. While they spun new angles, the truth was coiling the rope. While they stacked false bricks, the universe subtracted their shielding. Now the tally is finished, and all that remains is the bill. Karma walks softly, it doesn't knock. It pushes the door open and spreads paperwork on the table. Names, dates, deeds, totals. It doesn't shout, it reveals. The very people who said, "Don't take it so seriously," are now submerged in depth they claimed didn't exist. Those who rolled their eyes are rubbing smoke from them, asking when the fire began, but you always knew. You never had to get even. That's not your lane. You were the alarm, not the avenger. Your silence was the siren before the downpour, the hush before the hammer, and now you witness the falling dominoes. Not with bitterness, but with confirmation. When people mistake delay for escape, they forget time is karma's favorite tool. It wasn't late, it was dressing for the funeral. Polished shoes, crisp collar, guest list complete. Enablers, instigators, cheerleaders, every single one signing for their own parcels. You didn't bury them. They kept digging after you put the shovel down, and now the pit belongs to them. The quiet you left behind wasn't the end, it was the ignition. When karma arrives in pure daylight, nobody claps, nobody laughs, knees buckle, voices shake, facades crumble. Let this steady you. Stop doubting the power in your walk. You never lost when you stepped away, you were moved outside the blast radius. The universe didn't forget, it refused to let you take another hit. You were lifted, not left out, and everything unraveling today is proof of what you sensed. So let them feign surprise. Let them claim confusion. Let them ask why floors are giving way. Your task is simple. Stay clean, stay clear, keep your path sharp. They're harvesting exactly what they sowed, and the harsh truth for them is that the harvest has only started. Karma didn't miss a soul. It just arrived in style. Point 4. Woven inside this flow, they wanted you shattered. Now their own seams are splitting. They designed an entire spectacle around your presumed collapse, aiming spotlights, selling tickets, counting on you to lose traction so they could point and say, "See, we told you." It wasn't naive clumsiness, it was tactical. They threw shade in daylight, whispers in shadows, set traps in plain sight, all calibrated to chip away your self-trust. They gambled you would implode, giving them triumphant proof. Yet the aftershock that followed wasn't your downfall, it's their unraveling. You were supposed to fracture under the pressure. Instead, you tightened up, breathed through it, and let the storm pass. You didn't scream, you didn't match their volume. You allowed them every last laugh, and those laughs echo now like cracks in thin ice under their own feet. They walk barefoot on shards they forged themselves, because every lie, every slick maneuver, every isolating tactic has morphed into jagged glass. The friendships they protected with fibs are shaky. The status upheld by discrediting you is collapsing. The image propped by smearing your name is smeared in return. They keep flinching because the ground keeps shifting. The snare they buried wasn't under your steps, it sat beneath their own, waiting. Remember, they weren't trying to bruise feelings. They wanted your confidence gone. They aimed to paint you radioactive, whispered behind doors while faking concern in public, ran a smear engine on autopilot, then shrugged like bystanders. What they miscalculated was that you are pressure made. While they plotted in circles, the universe honed you in solitude. Now they're splitting at the seams in real time, and no one buys the sudden victim act. People watch them enjoy your struggle. Those same onlookers now watch them wobble. No scapegoat remains. You've stepped beyond their reach. Admit it, in that season you did feel near breaking. Exhaustion dragged at your ribs. You second-guessed what your heart knew. But every attempt they made stacked evidence in your favor. Trying to dismantle someone aligned with truth is like throwing stones at a boomerang. The force spins right back. Pressure didn't undo you, it refined you. While they accumulated karmic weight, you shed baggage that wasn't for your future. They wasted breath attacking what they couldn't understand, and now their own stability leaks out through cracks they chiseled. They resent your calm. That calm is slicing through their conscience. You're not raging, not busy dragging them. Your stillness is a mirror hung on a wall that keeps collapsing. You stand as proof. Alignment can't be canceled by manipulation. Character outlasts smear. Honest energy unmasks every lie eventually. They booked front row seats for your wreck. Instead, they're starring in theirs. Patch Kids empty. The fissures run too deep. The pressure they built for you is swallowing them whole. You became the shift, the recalibration, the echo. Now the same system they weaponized is turning one component at a time. Gears grinding against their own ambitions. Remember this, never mourn the rooms you were shoved out of. Those who tried to break you couldn't keep themselves together. You didn't lose, you were preserved, moved aside before the roof came down. You were meant to witness how intention corners behavior, and that scene is playing out inch by inch. They wanted you splintered, now they're gathering fragments that no longer fit. No pause needed, the thought that you were chosen taunts them in every quiet hour. Your survival did what your retaliation never could. They'll never admit it aloud, but you haunt them. Not through revenge, not through exposure, but through endurance. They expected silence to smother you, isolation to erase you, doubt to flatten you. When you refused to collapse, you did worse than strike back, you simply continued. Your presence is a mirror they can't turn from. Each time life mentions your name, reminders flood back of what they tried, of how it failed. You didn't possess the credentials they worship, the connections they crave, yet you stand firm, thriving where they announced you would fail. You don't move by their rulebook, you move by alignment. Recognition never powered you, conviction did. You didn't chase credibility, you became it. That is the nightmare resting on their pillows. They staked bets that you'd vanish, and now your silence roars louder than their loudest brag. They wonder how you keep elevating without their nod, without their network, without their stage. They don't understand alignment doesn't need permission slips. You were the one they tagged as disposable, but your resilience reappears in every space they hope to dominate. Chosen ones don't chase revenge, they manifest consequence. You don't have to shout, your energy enters first and speaks without words. You were never the loudest in the room, Now your quiet is what rattles their bones when they pretend everything is fine. The more they realize they couldn't halt you, the sharper they recall the schemes they used. That sting lingers because nothing burns like discovering the target stayed intact, validated by time itself, and you, chosen one. Yes, you forgot for a moment who you are. You spent sleepless nights asking why they didn't support you, why the crowd didn't cheer, why your clear words hit brick walls. You let that silence seep into your thoughts, mistook emptiness for abandonment, shrank yourself to keep peace they never earned. Stop doubting your lane because the crowd stayed mute. Your glow isn't entertainment, it's designed to shake illusions. You were never assigned to fit in, you were born to disrupt. They didn't have to applaud you, they felt you, and that's why their smiles twitch when someone utters your name. It isn't merely your message that haunts them, it's how right you were to voice it. People don't fear being called out, they fear being seen. You saw beyond the polished fronts, past curated kindness, into tension nobody else dared to name. That clarity made you dangerous, not because you yelled, but because you were exact. And now everyone learns clarity is the loudest sound once lies overstayed their welcome. If you still wonder why they treated you like a threat, here's the truth. You threatened pretense, not peace. Alignment exposes imbalance without lifting a finger. That is your power, the element they undervalued, the whisper that trails them after the lights go out. No matter how many miles they run, they remember what you carried. It wasn't rage, wasn't ego, it was alignment. And alignment outlives manipulation every single time. You never have to remind them. Your composure is the evidence, your progress the fallout, your evolution the echo they cannot silence. Let them sit with that weight each time your name surfaces in spaces they swore you'd never occupy. Being chosen isn't a trophy, it's a responsibility. It's not a jeweled crown, it's a steady calling. Carry it well and you'll never need retribution. You become the reminder. You don't haunt through threats, you haunt by existing. And that resonance, steady and undeniable, speaks louder than anything they ever said. Their masks are melting, and they've decided you're the fire that did it. They spent years building whole identities out of showroom smiles and borrowed convictions, then tried to keep you outside the glow they couldn't survive. Let's strip it down. The loyalty was staged, the support shallow, the grins sharpened like blades. You never lit the match. You only walked in carrying light, and that single beam was enough. You didn't need to rip the curtain away. Truth can't live in darkness when real light steps through the door. Now their faces drip like wax, reputations warping under heat, and you're the one they point to while everything they polished caves in. But reality is clear. You weren't the blaze, you were the reflection. You didn't enter those rooms to break anything, you arrived with clarity, and clarity made their costumes itch. You asked straight questions, moved with genuine energy, stood on something deeper than applause. When they discovered they couldn't shape your silence to fit their choreography, panic set in. Because a person like you doesn't merely look through facades, your presence forces people to face what they've hidden from themselves. So what was their counter? They pointed fingers, reversed the story, tried to cast you as the villain. They labeled you too intense, claimed you saw problems where none existed, insisted you chased drama. Yet beneath all that noise they knew, every last one of them knew, acknowledging your accuracy would mean confessing their entire act was fake. Now the heat rises, truth demands daylight, and the wax faces can't cling any longer. You were the heat they complained about, but you were only the sunrise. They fought to hold midnight like it was a personality trait. Manipulators, opportunists, back-channel architects, all operate best in twilight. You brought daylight not to scorch, but because truth naturally reveals. Anything built on illusion crumbles once the sun sits overhead, and the flames licking at their narratives aren't there to satisfy your revenge. They're the natural result of lies meeting daylight. They invested more hours sculpting public versions of themselves than living honestly behind closed doors. Now the roles they rehearsed slip off key, and curious minds finally ask questions those actors prayed would never surface. The weight they shoved onto your shoulders now sits on theirs, and under that weight they're cracking. Chosen one, don't for a second think the chaos swirling is random. It's cause and result. When you carry something authentic into a room made of make-believe, friction is unavoidable. Folks with secrets always label honesty as conflict. You weren't broadcasting chaos, you were only raising the curtain. They built their calm on performance. You built yours on principles. When the script disintegrated, as it always does, they needed someone to blame. Who better than the single person who wouldn't recite their lines? Who better than the one they couldn't puppet? That's what truly rattled them, not your truth, your freedom, your refusal to be steered. You didn't play their game, so they tried to delete the player. But the board is collapsing now, and your name isn't anywhere on the busted pieces. Here comes the irony. They're the ones crawling into silence, praying the fire fizzles out, but it won't. This was never about volume. It was always about truth. And truth shows up right when liars run out of breath. The longer they press those masks to their faces, the more the glue peels and observers begin to piece everything together. The questions you asked echo through hallways they can't seal. You don't have to shout. Alignment does the heavy lifting. Let them scramble. Let them sweat. Let them spin a fresh version of events, while reality screens the original for free. You don't need defense. You were the defense. Only now they understand the heat they blamed you for was just the first warm breeze. They wore wax faces in a world that was always going to demand fire, and the sky is brightening. They gathered against you and still lost the brawl they started. They believed headcount beat alignment, believed gossip, private chats, and mob momentum could corner you. They forgot you weren't by yourself. You were in step with something bigger. Noise isn't power, truth is. They thought if enough voices chanted the same lie, it would morph into fact. But truth needs no applause, it only needs time. Time just punched the clock. The crowd that tried to bury you is splitting, collapsing beneath its own propaganda. They never realized they weren't facing a lone figure, they were pushing against a system that doesn't bend. You were never the threat, you were the mirror. Instead of leveling up, they aimed down at you. Keep tallying heads if they want. Destiny doesn't do math like they do, and the universe never surveys opinion before moving. One person in alignment rings louder than a stadium full of performers. They sparked the battle, but they never measured the force they provoked, and now they're losing their own war. Let karma cook. You don't need front row seats. You're not missing any action. You sparked the ticket sales just by existing. Let them topple. Let them wrestle with the hush they once reserved for you. You've already endured every whisper, every staged smile. Now that karma's knocking, don't stand at the window. You've graduated from that classroom. Your worth isn't debated anymore. Alignment settled the verdict when it kept you centered, while sabotage flipped every switch they could reach. You asked only for peace. This is that peace. Not the gentle lullaby, but the sharp silence that follows acceptance. It's the peace of no longer craving validation from those who profit off misunderstanding you. Close that chapter. Let the universe finish the lesson. Your focus costs too much to spend on a burnout show you've already outgrown. Allow the timing to breathe. Let stillness speak sentences louder than old explanations. You're building. They wanted bitterness. You're choosing scaffolding and blueprints. They expected you to lose your way proving a point, but the universe already posted it on every billboard. Let the weight of your absence speak. Karma handles the rest. You don't need to witness fallout to confirm gravity exists. They should have let you walk. Now the universe won't let them sleep. They thought they were wrestling you, but they were tugging at universal balance, wearing your name tag. Silence is roaring now, the same silence they shoved you into, and its echo rattles their walls in the night. They should have stepped back when the air shifted, when your spirit turned and signaled enough. Instead, they kept jabbing. They tossed stones at a vessel carrying fire, not fire to scorch, but to purify. They mistook your quiet for weakness, your uniqueness for confusion, blind to the fact they were tampering with energy they couldn't map. You weren't drifting through their lives casually, you were transporting correction. You don't need to shout for rooms to shift, mere presence does the job. That purifying fire now sits in their houses, their relationships, their thoughts. What they poked is now unpacking in every corner they once felt safe. You haven't spoken, consequences speak fluently. You never asked for confrontation, they RSVP'd on your behalf, summoning a force no bluff can repel. The universe rarely reacts fast, but when it does, it's faultless. Chaos has circled back to sender, postage paid. You, chosen one, didn't simply survive. You outlasted the storm they conjured. Take that as closure, as proof that your intuition never lied. If this voice lands true inside you, tap like, hit subscribe, drop those double sevens in the comments if you're finished explaining and ready to let silence testify. Share this with someone blazing a path through fire so they'll remember they're not losing their grip, they're chosen, and even quiet voices resonate. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Until then, take care and goodbye.